It is Thursday, July 24th, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today presented to you by Mountain Dew. Grab yourself a refreshing citrusy kick this summer. Go grab yourself a Mountain Dew. That is my man Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer along for the ride as well, as we are now officially 1 week away from the trade deadline. And I'm sure everybody in every clubhouse, whether you're a buyer or seller, looking around the room and saying, who's going to be gone? Who's coming in, right?
A lot of talk in the Twins clubhouse, especially after how that series went in Los Angeles. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting time because I think a lot of times front offices already have their mind made up, and we as media members and maybe even the players are like, hey, if we just play a little bit better over the last week, maybe we'll change our fortunes. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but we need some trades, Chris. It's been barren since Devers.
Yep. And it always happens. You know, everybody's trying to get the best deal they can and eke out as much leverage. Hey, listen, if you're in contention, these games in between July 24th and July 31st count just as much as the ones in mid and late September. So if you want to go do something for your team, go do it now. That's just a word of advice here from Baseball Today. All right, let's start off with a tip of the cap and maybe one of our best catches of the year. I know much hasn't gone right for the Washington Nationals as of late, but Jacob Young, you can scale our wall anytime.
So the first timer here, just in case. This one out to deep center. Young back at the wall. Jacob Young defying gravity.
So I've watched that highlight like 50 times. I was like, what's Sean Doolittle doing in the dugout? You know?
That was a great catch. I love I honestly don't understand how outfielders do that. Like getting to the wall, knowing exactly where you're at. Like that was almost like at full speed. Chop the steps a little bit there, but to plant the foot in the wall and to like kind of give yourself that extra couple feet over the fences and still be able to track the ball is incredible.
Yeah, good stuff out there. You can always leave us your favorite catch at the wall. Mike Trout at Camden Yards always got a lot of play, but there's been a gazillion other ones. So if you want to leave a comment or even a link to your favorite catch, go do a little homework. It's kind of cool. Let's get it going with the game in Philadelphia. Red Sox with a really fun extra inning win. Crazy series for Narvaez, who ended up having the catcher's interference a couple of times and then hits the go-ahead home run in extras. So that was good for him. He's had an amazing year. So really good for the Red Sox. But on a personal note for the Phillies, this happened.
Here's Harper. He sends one to right. That is absolutely mashed. Second deck. And the Bryce Bonanza continues. 3-0 Phillies.
Pretty awesome. I mean, obviously on an individual note, super happy about it. Excited about it. Always want to win, obviously, and not getting the win right there, pretty tough.
So the individual note is that he became the fastest active player to get to 350 homers. First of all, is it just me or does that sound different?
The ball off his bat?
Yeah.
No, he's one of those guys, man. He's got that real deal pop. Like not got to get every ounce of it or got to go to the pool side. Like he's got real deal pop. He's always had that.
Yeah, he has. So he's got the 8th most homers of any active player. And there's a bunch of guys that are squished right in there within like 5 or 10 home runs. So it could be very interesting over the next few years where it all shakes out. I suppose the big question with this is he was supposed to be the guy. And even though he hasn't won a World Series, he has definitely been the guy. Shouldn't we give Bryce Harper a little more credit for living up to all the hype?
I think we do, Chris. I honestly think we do, especially around the game. Like, guys in the clubhouse really, really respect, what he's done. I think it is important to point out, he's been in the spotlight since he's been, 12 years old. Like, he's been the guy, and it doesn't happen. Like, ask anybody you play baseball with. The best player at 12 is never the best player in high school. The best high school player is rarely ever the best player in college, and so on and so forth. Like guys get better and guys fall out and guys lose interest or guys get hurt and Bryce I have an example like Dellin Young. Like Dellin Young was the same way. Like so much hype around him, and he had a great career, But Bryce has gone on to do obviously much different things. He's well on his way to the Hall of Fame, and yeah, not only like the career statistics and he's gotten the results on the field, but he's so good for any team he plays with. Like the Phillies want the production and obviously the $330 million contract seems light now, but it's a lot of money. The fact that he's like always repping the Phillies, wants to be in the community, has this stuff with the fanatic, like he's entrenched himself in that city. And I think that's almost just as important to have a figure that wants to do stuff like that, because not every superstar, Chris, as you know, wants to be out there doing the extracurricular stuff. So he kind of hits it on both sides.
I think that's a huge point. I think whenever you're paying somebody over $250 million over the length of a deal, whether it's 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, you're paying for more than just on-field productivity. Obviously, that's number one. That's why that person gets to the forefront of their career. But yeah, and it's why to me the Soto deal is going to be so interesting, because that's not who he is, and I'm not here to rip on him. I'm just saying that that's not who Juan Soto. That's not his DNA. That is Francisco Lindor's DNA. That's why he got 300. Part of the reason he got 340 million.
And he got a new show too, Chris.
Yes, he did. Congrats to him. Shohei Ohtani. He has opened up enormous new business avenues for the Los Angeles Dodgers. So it's got to be about more than just playing baseball, in my opinion, when you're giving somebody that enormous a contract. And with Harper, you're right. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 14. And dudes like that just don't make it. I mean, we've talked about it before. It's LeBron, it's Tiger Woods, it's Bryce Harper from baseball. You're being mentioned in the same breath as LeBron and Tiger when it comes to teenage phenoms that have lived up to every ounce of expectation. I don't think we talk about it enough, to be honest with you, because we're so busy focusing on negative and why isn't this person doing that and this. He has, if you could have drawn out a script when he was 14 years old and said how it would play out, with the exception of him not winning a World Series to this point, I think it has been every ounce of A-plus material.
Yeah, and he's handled everything, with class as well. I feel like we never hear anything negative about him. He's like a good dude. He's a good father, good husband, a great teammate. He has got like a good head on his shoulders. Like he's like humble. Like, we used to think of like cocky Bryce Harper,
right.
But I don't know, man. He's anyone you talk to that's played with him. I only shared a locker room with him for a spring training. But I got to know him a little bit, and I was very impressed with his demeanor. And now every time I see him, I'll see him at the yard, sometimes at the Dodger Stadium. We chat a little bit, and he's great, man.
Is the aura different? Like when he's in the locker room, you know how certain guys walk into a room.
No, he doesn't make you feel like that at all. Not at all. Like he's a grinder. Like he's a fucking grinder, which is very rare for like someone like that who has been. I honestly think he'd rather not have like that connotation. He just wants to be one of the guys. He wants to be one of the boys.
It's interesting because when you think about baseball, somebody goes 1-1 every year in the draft, but very rarely is there something that comes along with them that I'd have to go back to probably the 90s. Other than that, to think about guys like Ken Griffey Jr., I guess, was late 80s. Ken Griffey Jr. was a big deal. We didn't have the internet back then when he was being drafted number 1. And then, as a teenager, he makes it to the big leagues and ends up playing with his pops and the whole bit. But I think he's the last guy I can remember. There have been other top-notch players. Justin Upton was big when he got drafted 20 years ago as a 1-1 guy. Chipper Jones was huge when he was coming out. But they didn't carry with them the same sort of, I think, burden that a Ken Griffey Jr. or Bryce Harper did. Maybe leave me a name in there that you think might have. I think it'd be a good discussion to have, but I can't remember anybody else. I just can't. All right, move on. A couple of big trade names might have played their final home games for their respective clubs Sandy Alcantara, he was great. 7 shutout innings as the Marlins take a series from the San Diego Padres. You're going to hear from him in just a second, but we're going to start with Eugenio Suarez. The Athletic reports that one of his old teams, and it's not the Mariners, and it's not the Tigers, could be interested in the power-hitting third baseman. That's right. The Cincinnati Reds, who are just 2.5 games out, could be making a play. Here is Suarez and then Sandy.
It's a lot of things right now. It's going on in my mind. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but my heart is still here. I'm still here. I'm part of this team.
I just feel great being here at this organization, so what I know is I got to go in the role with the team, so if something happen, just happen, I just got to be able to compete, be able to work, and just let everything happen.
All right, let's go backward first. We'll start with Suarez. First of all, is he a goner, and do the Cincinnati Reds make sense for him?
They do. I think he is a goner. I think he's going to be traded. The Reds make sense. I think I had him going to the Cubs in our trade draft, but all of a sudden Matt Shaw's crushing the ball, so maybe it becomes less of a priority for them. The Tigers, Zach McKinstry's fine there, and so I don't think that necessarily makes, that's not their number one priority. I think the Reds would be great. I think that'd be a really fun story. And we need to kind of focus a little bit more on the Reds when we're discussing these teams and wanting to go all in. I'm sure Terry Francona's like, guys, I came out of retirement for this. Let's make some moves, people. There's got to be a little bit of that behind the scenes. I think a lot of people have him on the Yankees, but I think there's more options than we're thinking about. It's not just Eugenio Suarez available for the third baseman. Obviously he's having a great year with the homers. But Ryan McMahon, I just saw him play, so he's kind of fresh in my mind. I like his glove over there a ton, and I think that's the Yankees would really welcome in, as we're probably going to talk about in a little bit, a guy that can field his position. So I really don't know where he's going to go. Seattle will be interesting. I'll say Yankees, but I almost don't even believe that, Chris.
I was in Reds camp the day that he was traded from Cincinnati with Jesse Winker to Seattle. It was the weirdest thing. I went to Guardians camp. I was going to go to Reds camp and then went to lunch and came back. I think I was with Joe's. No kidding. I think I was with Joe's and a couple other people from John Boy Media. We went to lunch and we were like, holy shit, Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker just got traded. I just said hi to Wink. So we went back.
Was Trader Joe's. That was Trader Joe's.
That was Trader Joe's year. You're right. Everything he touched got traded that year. And he was in tears, Eugenio Suarez. And he admits he's an emotional guy, and you can see it. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that people adore him, fans and teammates. He just is a great, great person. The Reds, and first of all, I don't know what they would offer to Arizona. I'm just not well-versed enough, so maybe Reds fans, you could make sense of that, or Arizona fans.
They got a ton of starting pitching, but they're not going to give that up for a rental.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's what I was trying to think about. And then is Eugenio Suarez the missing piece in Cincinnati? They're 2.5 back of the wild card. They still have the Giants a game ahead of them. Yeah, good ballpark for him. He'd be comfortable there. Anybody playing for Terry Francona would have a great time. I think you could hear the angst in his voice a little bit. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot spinning around in my brain. And I think that's the part we forget about this is the human side. And even though he's only been in Arizona a couple of years, he said that helped save his career. It kind of recentered him. And so I think there's a lot of shit going on.
What do you do with Marte? He's having a good year.
Good question.
He's starting every day at third base there. Where does he go?
I don't know. I mean, Arizona was
talking about DHing.
Arizona's trying to clear a space for Jordan Lawler, so that doesn't make sense. If you get rid of Suarez, it's not like you're trying to get a guy to replace him. Maybe he moves. Can he move over to first eventually and take over for Josh Naylor?
Speculate. It's my least favorite part of all this is speculating. And I told you that. It's you just never know. You never know what everyone's thinking, because there could be a 3-team trade
Could be.
It's
Those are
just
fun. Let me just say this before we move on to Sandy. I think Suarez fits best in Detroit. I know that you mentioned Zach McKinstry's been fine. He's gotten 2 hits since the All-Star break.
yeah. I
They
mean,
need right-handed pop. Outside of Torkelson, they really don't have a ton. Javi Baez has had a good year. Gleyber Torres has had a good year. Eugenio Suarez is a different animal when it comes to being able to park the ball over the fence.
does
And
Merrill Kelly and Eugenio Suarez make them like the World Series favorite in the AL?
Well, they need some help. They've lost 9 of 10. They just got swept in Pittsburgh. And they got a huge series against the Toronto Blue Jays, I believe, now starting tonight.
And my Twins are coming too.
Yeah, maybe. Sandy, 7 shutout innings against the Padres, who are a team in contention. If you were a GM and you had a vacancy in your rotation, would you go get him?
I would, but I start to think about Sandy, coming off of TJ. Like, how many innings has he thrown already this year?
I think this was the first time he got to 7, if I'm not mistaken. I think he talked about that in the postgame
Well,
press.
actually, so I have his game log up right now. He's thrown 104 already this year, Chris. Didn't pitch at all last year. Typically, you come back. It's not great for you, your first go around. And the following year is kind of when guys feel better. So maybe that's what you acquire him for. Like, yeah, maybe you see what you got this year, but it's next year. So I don't know if I would go after him. It's been up and down. He's, I know he's just had a great start against San Diego, but the fact that he's first year back from Tommy John, already thrown 104 innings. Typically, you want the guy the second year after Tommy John. I don't know if he's a guy I want for the stretch run this year. That's crazy talk. Listen, I know what he's done in this game. I understand that, but just going back to other people who have come back from Tommy John, I'd target other guys if I'm looking for this year helping me out. If you want to say, hey, look, this guy's under team control and I'm ready for next year as well, like I understand, like, yeah, go get him. That makes sense to me. But if you're Peter Bendix, I almost think unless you get the offer you want, like just let him ride out the year and take him into the offseason.
Well, don't you remember the discussion we were having in spring training? We saw him throw an inning or two, and we were like, boy, oh
Do it
boy.
now. Do it now.
Trade now. Get him out of here because you don't know what's going to happen. And I think it's been the Marlins' biggest nightmare. I mean, he's had an ERA over 7 for much of the season. And if you are looking at his future earnings, 17.3 next year, 21 in a team option with a $2 million buyout after that. So it's not ridiculous money at all for a guy who is a former Cy Young Award winner. But very few times have I watched Sandy starts this year and said, yeah, that's the Cy Young Award winner. Even when he was winning that award and even when he was at the top of his game, he was never a strikeout master. And now at this point, while he's still trying to work his way back toward being that guy, his strikeout numbers are even worse. Like if I make the trade, if I'm a GM and my playoff team's life is on the line, I don't know if I feel great handing the ball to Sandy right now.
Agreed.
And that's why I can't pull the trigger on this.
Yeah. I think, like I said, a savvy team might say, yeah, we'll take him. Values probably as low as it's going to be. And we have him for next year, which we really, really believe in. Then we have the team option. Like, so it makes sense to go get him. But I think we're on the same page. He's not going to save your rotation, or you can't count on him to save your rotation and take you deep into the playoffs. Because again, like 104 innings already, and we're talking you want to go into the playoffs and extend it. It's like I don't know if that's the right move.
No, I think if you're a contender and a team that needs help for this year and the future, because you have a couple of guys that are walking, let's say at Toronto Blue Jays, they have a couple of guys in their rotation who are free agents after this year, or some other team, and you're a fan of that team, let us know. Would you feel comfortable with him right now, even just taking a flyer on him, knowing that he is not at the top of his game? Because you have to balance that discussion. I think there has to be that nuance in there. So there you go. All right, it's time right now for Climbing the Mountain. It is brought to you by Mountain Dew, where we take a look at teams who are climbing up or sliding down the mountain on the trek to the playoffs. And we're actually going to focus on the 2 teams that squared off last year in the Fall Classic. The Dodgers, they just took 2 of 3 from your Minnesota Twins, so they now have a 4.5 game lead. there in the National League West. In the meantime, the New York Yankees, they dropped 2 of 3 north of the border. They are now 4 games back in the American League East behind the Toronto Blue Jays. And so now we're going to focus on the Dodgers, who came up with a huge come-from-behind walk-off win courtesy of Freddie Freeman. But they were paced by Tyler Glasnow, awesome, gave up just 1 run in 7 innings, struck out 12, and Shohei, who went deep for the 5th straight game that ties a Dodgers record. Meanwhile, the Yankees, we talked about them dropping a series to Toronto. 4 more errors last night, 7 in the series. What's the bigger storyline? Ohtani's continued power dominance or the Yankees' fall classic failures rearing its ugly head again?
Well, I don't think anybody's surprised that Shohei is like homering. He didn't have a great series offensively. I was there. Let me tell you something, Chris. It's so cool to like be able to call a game that Shohei Ohtani's playing in and just see him hit these homers. Twins actually did a good job with him. And it really, against a majority of those hitters, the Dodgers are not playing good baseball right now, but somehow they managed to win games still. It's crazy. Maybe that's more on my Twins. But a lot of neck balls for Ohtani, a lot of up and in, high, above the strike zone. He's swinging at those pitches, and he struck out a ton. And you can get him right now, but he's going to get his too. So I don't think that's that big of a story. I think it's more of the Yankees. And as you mentioned, go back to the World Series and all the things that were said about them by the Dodgers, basically dancing on their graves. Some of that stuff is coming up. And we saw a bunch of it last night. We talked about this before the show, the Max Fried play. I don't think that's a bad play. I think that's a Gold Glover trying to get them out at home here. Creates a lane with the throw, and Escar just can't really hold on to it. He goes for the tag here and goes away. The only thing is Max Fried's got to get back to home plate to cover here. So that's why I mentioned like McMahon could help them solidify their infield defense. Volpe's not going anywhere. And I listened to super producer Dan Rourke on Yankees Avenue last night talk about this. Volpe's not going anywhere. So you got to just kind of eat that, and hopefully he turns it around. And then the other guys that are kind of having some troubles, especially last night, is Ben Rice. And Dan so eloquently put, you always got Paul Goldschmidt to replace him. So you could do that. He's a good defender out there. This is the worst way to lose games is by making errors. It's such a frustrating brand of baseball. So this is the bigger story, and they have to clean it up, whether that's in-house, figuring it out, going out every day, doing extra defense, or, like I said, making a trade for McMahon. So I 100% think the Yankees story is a bigger one.
Well, particularly in Toronto. I mean, the Yankees are thankful that season series is over for them north of the border. I think they still have one more series in the Bronx with them. But they went 1-6 in Toronto and committed 11 errors in those 7 games. You're talking about more than an error and a half per game. That's embarrassing. And that doesn't even include the Bellinger fly ball that he lost in the lights in a 4-4 game. That's troubling. And right at the beginning of the year, all we heard was, no, this is a different Yankee team. I mean, this is it. Look at the way we're playing. We're better athletically. We are way better defensively. And you're not. You're just not. And it's going to cost you series in late July. And I still believe that this team is at least a wild card. I still think they'll win the division. And it would scare the you-know-what out of me in a short series to have 1 or 2 defensive plays that end up costing you, because I don't think this offense is good enough to overcome it. I went back to look and see where the last World Series champion Yankee team ranked defensively. They were middle of the pack. They were actually a little bit lower than average in 2009. But they were good enough to overcome that because they had 3 stud pitchers at the top of their rotation, and they had a couple Hall of Fame caliber players in their lineup. Here they've got Aaron Judge, and Cody Bellinger's had a nice year.
I'm looking right now. Yeah. So the pitchers are I'm looking at team defensive run saves, and they're actually 6th in the league, but a majority, almost half of their defensive run saves have come from their pitchers. How is that a thing? What are the Dan, what have the pitchers been doing so well? 16 of their 33 total runs saved are from pitchers.
Covering first base.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I've been working on that. I do want to say one other thing about Shohei while we're here.
Yeah.
His numbers since he returned to the mound His batting average has plummeted.
Yeah, he's been chasing a ton. I'm telling you. Like you go, I watched it, man. Up and in, just up with the fastball in general. He's swinging at it and not getting to it.
Okay, but is that a story for us to watch, or do you think it's just, well, this is his bad time of year? Like everybody has a bad month.
He needs to make an adjustment. He's getting frustrated with the way he's getting pitched, and so he's trying to get to that pitch, and he's not. I mean, his swing path does not lend itself to get to that high pitch on a consistent basis. Every once in a while, he'll click one and he'll get his bat there, but on a consistent basis, it's not. That's his cold zone, and that's why they're pitching him there. So he has to lay off it. That's the adjustment for him. He has to take those pitches and take his walks, and sometimes that gets really frustrating, especially for a guy like Shohei. The rest of their offense as well. I mean, Mookie's the real interesting issue there. He does not look happy playing right now. He doesn't look like himself at the plate. It's like I don't know what he's got. I think he's the main guy that needs to kind of like turn it around in that offense.
So the Dodgers have an off day. They're traveling to Boston, and Dave Roberts said there's a possibility that Mookie Betts won't even play with them on Friday, that he's got something going on. He said he's fine, but there is something personal going on. He really didn't delve into it, nor should he.
Maybe that's it then, because he didn't look like the whole series just didn't look like a happy guy.
Right. Not the usual Mookie. And the year has just been miserable. He's got the worst numbers of his career.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. Mets sweep the Halos. Francisco Lindor, not only new show, but get rid of that streak. 0 for 31. He snapped it. He had a couple of RBIs on Wednesday. So that was a big deal for him. Pete Alonso, he snapped an 0 for 13 skid. He's now 4 homers shy of Darryl Strawberry's Mets franchise record. But the way things went down in the 8th inning with Edwin Diaz on the mound and Luis Rengifo at the dish, I want you to listen to the entire call from the Angels booth, okay? Wayne Randazzo, Mark Gubiza.
Fielder's choices last time.
Oh, that is so far off the plate.
And it's called a strike.
That's not even close.
Real 3-2. Now the runners will go. And it's ball by call that strike. That's ridiculous.
Okay, yeah, their interim skipper and Tim Lakers, one of the coaches on the staff, actually both got ejected. That's Eric Backus behind the plate. You all always ask for consistency.
Yeah.
He was consistently calling a non-strike a strike. So don't we at least applaud him a little bit?
No, we don't. It's so bad. It's so bad. Bring on the ABS. I'm so ready for it.
Are you?
I am. It's sometimes it goes unnoticed. Like, second inning of a game, maybe it's a non-meaningful pitch, and you just, all right, it is what it is. The human element's great. And then when it impacts the game, it always impacts the game. But when it's an at bat like that at the end of the game, or in a super pressure packed situation, and you're getting the call wrong like that, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. So yeah, ABS, we saw it at the All-Star game. It looks great. Don't want to always bring up my Twins. They should have won the game last night. Mookie Betts completely swung on a 2-strike pitch that would have ended the game, and the first base umpire just wasn't looking. And Mookie gets a ground ball base hit, and the rest is history. Freddie Freeman walks it off. But you want to get the calls right, Chris. That is the only thing. You want to get the calls right, and we have the technology to do it. It's going to be here next year, and I think everyone will be really happy with it.
I loved it in the All-Star game. Now, I get it. It's a game that doesn't mean anything. Nobody remembers the score. But I loved it, and I think there's going to be a ton of intrigue with it when it pops up on the scoreboard.
I do too. I said from the beginning, not only is it going to be cool to get the calls right, but when a batter gets it right, like the applause or,
Right.
the smile on his face, or when the umpire gets it right and the call is challenged, but it's the right call. I feel like that's going to be a sense of pride for him. And I think the crowd's going to be into it. It's going to create another little rift of drama that I think, you always want that.
The only problem is we're not going to get Wayne Randazzo going nuts Well, like
You might run out of challenges.
he has 1 or 2 a year when he goes cuckoo on an Angels broadcast, and I think it is hilarious. Now I feel bad for the Angels because they've played actually pretty good baseball and have hung in this wild card picture for much of the year when a lot of people, including yours truly, didn't think they could do it. But man, when he loses his shit, it's funny. He just makes me laugh, man. You have got to be kidding me.
Yeah, no, that's a good booth right there.
Yeah. Dan, can we hear it one more time before we go on? Do you still have it?
Fielder's choice is last time.
Oh, that is so far off the plate.
Gooby. He's so
And
classy.
it's called a strike.
Oh, that's not even close.
Real 3-2. Now the runners will go. And it's ball by call that strike. That's ridiculous.
It's good. Perfectly said. That's ridiculous.
It's true. He nailed it.
He did nail it. Oh my God, was that funny? All right. So lids, you know how much I love hats. Whether it's minor league hats, major league hats, I'm always digging them, right? Well, the store Lids, always the go-to for all things hats. And they're sponsoring today's episodes. So they got hats, they got jerseys. You walk in that store and you're like, oh, this is baseball heaven. But Lids can now be your go-to for all things Topps trading cards. Yeah, including the Topps Chrome series that just dropped on July 23rd. Lids is the only retail store with hobby boxes. So now you can have the satisfaction of ripping packs as soon as you make the purchase and not have to wait for the delivery to your house. Believe it or not, apparently somebody just pulled a 1-1 of Cal Raleigh autograph card at a Lids store. And we're hearing that it's sold for almost $3,000. It's pretty good investment on your part. So to welcome card collectors of all ages to Lids stores, customers can use the code JOHNBOY in-store to get an Access Pass premium membership for free with any purchase of MLB Topps Chrome. The AP premium membership includes 20% off headwear, 10% off apparel, and early access to latest drops, product giveaways, and much, much more. Once again, use the code JOHNBOY in-store. You'll get your Access Pass premium membership for free. That sounds awesome. I know that my dude Plouffe is a big-time card ripper, loves collecting that stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me if he is using that code JOHNBOY sometime in the near future. Get a 1-1 of Cal Raleigh. $3,000. That ain't bad. Okay. Before we get out of here, finally happened for Justin Verlander. Finally happened. Start number 17. Win number 1 is a San Francisco Giant. 5 scoreless and in the steamy heat of Atlanta. Got plenty of run support. That was good, including a pair of homers from Rafael Devers. Here's JV.
A couple of the guys got me a nice bottle of wine as a congrats, which feels great. So I'll probably have a little bit of that. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, just happy to be able to contribute finally.
All right, so it's win number 263 in the future Hall of Famer's career, which is cool, but he ain't going to get to 300, which I know he desperately wanted to get, and I wanted to see him get it because I'm not so sure we're going to get there ever again. If we don't ever see another 300-game winner, does that sadden you as a baseball fan, or do you just kind of shrug it off?
I don't care.
I
mean, look, I get it. Like, we're ushering in a new era of how we look at pitching, and it's a whole different thing now than it used to be. We're focusing a lot more on bullpens than we used to, and we're maxing out arm potential. So we have to kind of watch innings.
Do you think that's good, by the way? Like, I understand that it's different, and usually I am a fan of changing and progress and looking forward. I am not so sure this is what's best for the game. Isn't it fun to watch a guy go
said it.
7 innings?
He wants to bring back marquee pitching matchups. It's why part of the reason Mizorowski was an all-star. I know a lot of guys declined it, and he's obviously a very good pitcher, but like, we're trying to build stars. Like, we're trying to build headlines, and I don't have a problem with that. I think it is like, I also enjoy a marquee pitching matchup, but the organizations just aren't going to do it. And they can't do it because of the way guys are training and the way guys are throwing now. Like, the max biomechanic hacks, everything full bore. Like, you just can't, no one's going to go and throw 300 innings anymore, or 200 innings, or even 180 innings. Like, it's just not going to happen. So we're in a new age of pitching, and I'll say this: I never cared about wins. Like, when's the last time you even looked at a pitcher's record? It like
You're
doesn't
right.
even
I
get,
don't, and
it
I'm not.
doesn't even get talked about. If you said name who's leading the league in wins, I'd have no clue.
I'm with you 1,000% on that. But I will say this, just from a guy who grew up discovering baseball in the late 70s and then throughout the 80s. I went back and looked. Do you know how many 300 game winners there are?
20?
24. I saw 10 of them. And it's
What about
but
all the guys like way back in the day that didn't pitch enough games? I feel like when they were throwing, back-to-back days, 9 innings apiece, they weren't racking up dubs.
Yeah, but those guys, they're all on that list. But I'm talking about guys like Don Sutton and Phil Niekro, and Tom Seaver was one of the memories that I have, because usually when a guy wins his 300th game, he's in the dugout. But Tom Seaver was actually on the mound pitching for the White Sox in Yankee Stadium. He's getting Don Baylor to fly out to left. Watch Seaver's reaction and watch his teammates. It's almost like he just threw a perfect game. You don't get these sort of moments very often. And I remembered this, like him being carried off by his teammates, and it was something special. I'm just saying that it was really, really a cool moment, because we get it so rare that the 300 game winner is actually on the field of play instead of shaking hands in the dugout. And we're never going to get that again.
It's cool, and it's I respect the guys that can still kind of do it, go deep into games, always give themselves a chance to get that decision. But the truth, the actual truth is, guys don't care about that because they don't get paid to win games. They don't. Like, I know it sounds crazy. They don't. I mean, they get paid to pitch well. The winning games part of it doesn't matter. Or this getting the getting the W. You guys know what I mean. I'm trying to say it. You get paid for like your peripheral numbers, like, your chase rate, your ground ball rate, like your spin numbers. That's what teams are looking at nowadays. It's not like, this guy won 20 games.
But I do think, and I agree with everything you're saying, and I don't know who leads the league in wins. I don't. I just think that there is something.
Guess. I'm going to get it up. Let's say a guess.
It's sad, man.
I'm going to take Tarek Skubal.
I don't think so.
Probably not, but that's a good guess because he's the best pitcher in baseball.
What's Quinn Priester at?
Right now, the leader in wins. Right team, Chris. Fastball Freddie Peralta leads with 12 wins. Chris Bassett with 11. Garrett Crochet with 11. Max Fried, Framber Valdez, and Matthew Boyd also 11. Skubal's got 10.
Wow.
And Quinn Priester is not on this list.
So if a guy gets 20 wins in a year, that's not something special for you? It doesn't even feel special?
It does. You still like give him a pat on the butt and say, hey, that's freaking pretty cool, man. 20 wins. But it's here, I'll tell you this. I'd rather have 20 quality starts than 20 wins. Right?
You know what I have to start doing when I go to the yard is I have to start asking starting pitchers what it means to be a top-notch starting pitcher. Like, what
I think quality starts is a really, really good stat to look at.
Do you think that innings is number one on their chart because it can save the bullpen? Like, if they can give a team and work into if they can work into the 7th every game, like a Logan Webb,
I think they'd mention that for sure. I think they'd say getting deep into a game is probably their biggest, like what they're thinking about, because if you go deep into a game, it means that you're pitching well.
Yeah.
So that's why I like quality starts. So that quality starts is 6 or more innings, 3 or less runs.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't want this to turn into a Rose, you're such an old head. Go back and to yesteryear.
I don't think you're like that.
No, I think that you can appreciate what you grew up with and miss something and also understand where we are in this game. I'm not one of those is like, oh, well, the game sucks now. No. I love the game where it is. It's just I miss that about it too.
There's going to be a lot of people saying the nerds killed starting pitching, and they kind of did.
They did, and yes, they did. And I do miss, like when Tyler Glasnow, I kept wondering when he was going to get pulled, and it started after the 5th inning.
So filthy, dude.
I know. When he's good, he is good. No
the guys
question.
in the clubhouse after the game are like, "What the freak was that?"
Yeah, he's ridiculous. That's why he's so important to what the Dodgers are trying to do. All right, we're back at it again on Friday. We'll get you all set for a huge baseball weekend. We cannot wait. Continue to like us, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It helps grow the show and helps grow what we're all about here at John Boy Media. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern, Sawyer, that is uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you Friday here on Baseball Today, presented to you by Mountain Dew.